So after watching this video, you'll be like, oh, okay, now I remember this very simple formula, this very simple method that I almost forgot because of everything I'm listening to. This will be your mind speaking, because in today's video, I want to walk you through what differentiates or what gives the ability for people who aren't that smart to become better and masters in certain areas compared to people who consider themselves to be intelligent or have a very high IQ test, let's say. So, how do we really achieve mastery? Like each single scenario, each single experience that we have is a neural pathway in our brain. So, if I wake up and I go and take a cold shower and then do this and then do that and then that and that and that, this is, let's say, a neural pathway. And if I do this over and over again, I will create similar neural pathways, right? And the more neural pathways I create, the more my brain is likely to repeat this action that I'm doing in a very easier manner, in a more of an automatic way. That's why we have habits. That's why we grow habit. That's why it takes time for us to develop habits that allow us to live life, on almost autopilot. So whether you grow good or bad habits, it doesn't matter. Habits are habits, and they're gonna form those similar neural pathways that get stored in your brains. So of course we want to be growing good habits. This is what leads me to the point where, okay, if you're a regular person versus an intelligent person, and you are doing those right habits, you're building those good neural pathways, whereas the intelligent people aren't building them, or they aren't even trying to build them. And to give you an example, we all know those people who watch all of the motivational videos and like podcasts and whatever, and think that by watching those and by scrolling through Instagram and TikTok that they're gaining a lot of value. This isn't effective, because the way we the way we build up those neural pathways is by taking the actions, and it's not by just looking at something. I learned this lesson actually through getting into intense training period before a Muay Thai fight that I got into. Uploaded a YouTube video, which you can watch. But anyway, what I learned is that I can sit all day there in class and watch my coach fighting with the students and teaching them stuff, or I can watch everyone sparring and fighting each other. But if I don't get into the ring and I don't get punched a lot of times, and if I don't punch in the right locations, my mind isn't that good at saving what I watch compared to what I experience during the fight. So if I get hit a lot of times on my liver, which is a very crucial area, if you get hit here real hard, you might faint and get knocked out, right? So if I get hit a lot of times here, then my mind automatically remembers that, okay, I should guard this place, so I should keep my guard down and not keep my hands up and get hit, right? So this is one point. This is one neural pathway. And then another thing, okay, I get hit a lot of times on my head because I keep my right hand low, right? This is one point. So boom, that's another neural pathway. And then I don't know, while we're sparring, because I did this, I bended, I got hit on this side. Okay, boom, I saved it. This is another neural pathway. And with time, we will develop all these neural pathways, right? This will be our brain with billions or trillions, or I don't know how many pathways we develop on what should be done. And with time, it's all a matter of repeating the things and learning them to accumulate those pathways. Because the more we have, the more experiences we have, of course, the more capable we are at handling those unpredictable situations that come in our way. So another example which I've seen recently is in sales calls. So with sales, there might be millions of different pathways that a sales call might take. You might get on a call with someone and you're trying to sell them something, and like suddenly they stop looking at you, or they stop turning on the camera, or they start acting toxic. There are those different scenarios that might happen, and in each scenario you need to have sort of the knowledge on how to handle them, because if you don't handle them correctly, you already lost the sale, you already lost the call. So you learn the most by not watching other people. Like in the moment you can remember, but our brain is very like forgets most of the information that we input, because this is how it's built. It's built to consume information and throw out the things we don't need and keep the things we need. And our brains also function in a way where we remember the things that are familiar to us and that we repeat very often, right? It's not that, okay, if I do one sales call, or if I fight one time, then I can master this thing. No, there's a reason why, let's say, billionaires, most of them have white hair. It's because they spent a lot of time in the game to reach this billionaire status. There's a reason why athletes play for years before getting into professional teams and playing with other professional fighters. I think this was something I admit to have in the past, where I used to think that I can defy nature and become a genius just suddenly. But the world doesn't work that way. I had this huge inflated ego that I can become the youngest billionaire, or I can become the most famous person ever. And I think you can relate with that if you're watching this video, because of course you're not going to be watching it if you are not seeking to improve yourself. And if you want to improve yourself, it means that you have a big vision, something huge that you want to accomplish, right? So this feeling where your ego tells you that you know enough, right? But when you get into the ring, when you get on the sales call, when you try to attempt to do something great that a very few amount of people have done, you get a reality check, especially if you're a beginner, and boom, you get in there and you get slapped in the face, you get slapped mentally, if not physically. So note that anything you want to achieve, anything you want to master, will take time and repetition, and you want to get into things that you like to build yourself in. So if you don't like to progress in doing sales, maybe you like building automations, maybe you like fighting, maybe you like playing pickleball, whatever it might be. In my case, what I realized is I like sales. I'm not the best at it, but what I really like as well is automating stuff. And over the past 1.5 years or even 2 years, this has been my main area of focus. This has been the main area that I want to master even more. So right now I'm at a stage where I'm not even a master, but I can deeply see and simulate automations and connections that not anyone can. And this gives me the edge over most people out there who don't know how to build automations. And this is what will give me specialty, and people pay a lot for specialties. Just purely from my skill set of automation, I managed to make like around $8,000 in just 1 week of work. Again, this amount isn't to flex or anything, it's just to show you that if you're a beginner but you don't have like a tangible skill set, like this is what it takes. It takes repetition in something you like over and over. It takes action. You need to put in the action, not just be the spectator behind the scenes. It's funny, I always laugh at people who would be like in the spectator seat and they're watching a game between two professional teams, like playing against each other. Let's say they're playing soccer or basketball, and those spectators be like, bro, you should have done this, you should have done that, no, no, no. But those spectators would have like a huge belly. They'd be eating those hot dogs and drinking beers and whatever, and they think that they know the game. They think that they know more than the players on the field. This is the reality of the world. Most people have those egos that are controlling their perception on how much they know. But in reality, the more you learn and the more you progress, the more you realize how much you know nothing, basically. Before I end the video, let me actually show you what I'm talking about. Let me show you those neural pathways visually so you can see them in my automations and how I started and where I am right now. All right, so I'm going through my make.com account. For those of you who know, this is like an automations platform, and I'm looking at the like first automations that I've built. So this is in 2023. Let me show you let's see this one. This was sort of my knowledge before. This is what I knew in automation. Those are the stuff that I built. So this is me as a beginner, right? And I thought I knew everything. And this is me now. So this is like one of my current automations that I've built. This is how many pathways it contains. And I have it all saved up in my head. And this is part of it. Like there are many automations connected to this as well that look similar to this one. But just wanted to show you how progress is made, and that when we're at this stage, like most people are at this stage and they think that they've mastered the game, they've connected a few dots together. But you know, when you look at something like this, you'd be like, oh, okay, there's more to the game. And again, like this is 1.5 years of work. I'm talking about this solution specifically, but I began automation stuff in maybe late 2023 or whatever. But that's not important. What's important is noting that, you know, mastery, that building huge things take time. This is part of our human evolution where we develop slowly and steadily. This can be nothing compared to someone who has like a decade of experience in automation and building code, and they could have like a setup that's maybe 20 times or even 30 times bigger than this one, you know. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers.